Welcome back to the Jars. We're with Quincy Simpson and Ruben Flowers as Lima Cedars moving on to the state tournament. First off, Ruben, a couple of big plays in that fourth quarter. They cut it down to a very close lead. You had that huge tip of a ball that led to a bucket.
Well, you know, basketball is a game of runs. And, you know, we believe that if we be solid on defense, everything else will fall into place. So, you know, we were in our fifth defense. And, you know, I was just best to get a deflection and be able to tip it to one of my teammates. And we ended up turning it into a bucket.
What does it mean, Ruben, to take this team to the state tournament?
Oh, it's a blessing, man. I'm so proud of this team, man. Never believing. I never thought I'd end my senior year going to state. But Coach Q, it's a life changer, man. I'm so thankful. I'm so blessed.
All right, congratulations, Ruben. Go celebrate. Let's talk with Coach Simpson. Another close game down the stretch. Once again, you guys find a way to win, and now you're moving on.
Yeah, blessed to be in this position. You know, these guys in Lima, they deal with a lot. It's more than basketball for us. I don't think people understand the things that these kids go through on a daily basis. You know, they don't have a lot, but they got each other. That's why we wear the family shirts, because we exactly a family. We hold each other accountable. It's an honor. It's definitely an honor.
Marquavius Wilson, 3 big threes in the third quarter. Rico Stafford, a huge second quarter. When you guys were down 9, it was Rico who was finding some buckets on the baseline for you. It wasn't just X this time. It was the entire team coming through with this victory.
They understand it's not on BX all the time. We built a lead. You know, we didn't take care of the ball. And we kind of did some things that was not conducive to what we've practiced. Guys got to step up in these situations when X had foul trouble. Jar was hurt, but he fought through it. You know, and I thought Fat Man almost gave me a heart attack with some of his plays defensively. But, you know, he made some offensive plays that in this situation only big-time players can make those type of plays, and that's what he is. So I'm just proud of my guys. I'm proud of the Lima Senior administration for the support. Proud of all the Lima Senior students who came and supported, my coaching staff who put the game plan together. You know, this is more than just me. This is a Lima Senior award, and that's how we're going to have it.
All right, congratulations, Coach Quincy Simpson. We'll let you go celebrate with your team as Lima Senior are going on to the state tournament. As there you go. There is the regional championship. We'll see you next time on WOSN. I want to thank our entire cast and crew. Welcome back. We're joined now by Quincy Simpson. And Coach, we kind of talked about during the game, you guys had some tough calls in the district tournament, and now this is a battle-tested team that doesn't get flustered when you have a close game down the stretch.
Yeah, you know, I think both teams are battle-tested. You know, they demonstrated a sense of urgency. They made runs, they got stops, they turned us over a little bit when needed. I thought we took our foot off the gas, but that was my mistake. I told my guys to kind of hold it, to try to conserve some energy, and because obviously X was in foul trouble, but that's a mistake that I can learn from pretty quick.
I'm going to say with X picking up that fourth foul, that really did change the tenor of the game, what he can do both offensively and defensively.
You know, he does a lot for us defensively. I was surprised at the first 2 fouls. I thought those 2 were chippy. But again, he's been in foul trouble many times this year, and he's been able to fight through it. He was able to fight through it today. I thought our guard play didn't bring it overall, all of them. But the good part about it is we get to practice tomorrow, and we can look at the film, and we can correct some of those mistakes.
And your grinders came through. Rico and Ruben both with nice games for you, particularly against a front court for the Titans that had a couple of inches on them.
You know, I've been with these guys for many years, before Lima Senior. Those guys will fight for me. That's never been a question. Now, I need them to make free throws, but those guys, when it's time to fight, Rico, Ruben, Jay Thomas, I've been with these guys too long. I'm not concerned with that. They came up big. Ruben has been our energy guy throughout the duration of the playoffs. And Rico had a tremendous game tonight. He had a tremendous game against St. John's. So, you know, hey, on to Akron.
And speaking of free throws, once again, Marquavius, big at the stripe in the final seconds, much like he was big at the stripe in the district tournament.
You know, he was down on himself a lot. The ball got away from him a few times. He didn't make plays to counter. He kind of made plays to just contain the ball. But he stepped up and made 2 big free throws. You know, him and I were jugging at each other on the bench because he put his head down. And I told him, as soon as you drop your head, I can't put you back in the game. And he looked at me and said, no, put me back in. And he understood that relationship, that status that him and I have for years. He's a guy that's going to work hard for me. He's one of our primary guys. This is probably one of his, not so great games throughout the tournament. But again, it's good that we can get back in the gym tomorrow, watch some film, and he can play again.
With the 30 and 30 for 30 guys, Brian O'Connor, Tim Lath, and you guys have been traveling to all 30 Major League ballparks in 30 days, all by car, to celebrate your 30th birthdays. First off, Brian, where did you get this idea?
Well, it's an idea that we've been kind of kicking around the last few years. Basically, since we turned 20, we'd been kind of wanting to do a road trip, and I'm a teacher. Tim works in finance. So basically, every summer that I have off, I've been needling him like, hey, we should take a trip. We should take a trip. And then finally last year, he needled right back at me, and he said, fine, you want to do a trip? Let's do them all. 30 days, 30 games for our 30th.
Tim, you're in finance. Does that mean you're the reason you're keeping an eye on the budget for this trip?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. We have had our several different, I don't know, I wouldn't say disagreements, but Excel spreadsheets have been prevalent both with the scheduling of this thing and also the budgetary constraints because, this is something, again, that we're just kind of funding and doing ourselves.
Speaking of the scheduling, you guys didn't program this into a computer. You actually took out the schedules yourself and mapped it out.
Yeah, so basically it was just, it was an entire Sunday that Brian and I spent doing it, and one person with an Excel spreadsheet, the other person with the MLB schedule and Google Maps because, we had that additional constraint because we're doing a road trip, we're driving the whole thing. We need to make sure it was feasible to drive to all the locations. So yeah, it took us about a day, but at the end of it, it's obviously been totally worth it. And really, once we got it all mapped out, that's what was sort of the moment where it was now, oh man, this is tangible. We can go do this, now we should.
Brian, road trips in baseball, they're two maybe uniquely American things, two great pastimes. You guys have gotten a little bit of fame for this, over 5,000 Twitter followers already. Has it been surprising, the way this has caught on?
It has been completely surprising, something we didn't expect at all. When we left Chicago to head to Seattle for our first game, we had, 18 Twitter followers. Basically just created an account for our friends and family to keep up with us. And like you said, we've grown to over 5,000. It's been amazing. All the people on Twitter that we meet, all the fans we meet at the stadiums are super nice. They all want to tell us what their favorite stadium is, what the features of their ballpark is. It's been incredible.
Now, here at Comerica, you guys have got an inside view, got a tour. Has that been typical of places, or has that kind of picked up as you've gone along and more of the stadiums and the teams have found out about you guys?
Yeah, it's sort of dependent, I think, on their social media group. Again, that's sort of our groundswell was via social media and via the fans, really. So that's been so cool to interact with all the fans and everything. But yeah, we've seen about half the teams do something for us, and then about another half that I just think it's so much going on, and we're so small potatoes for a lot of these guys. But yeah, so many teams have been very generous to us and have reached out and everything. So that's been great.
Brian, 30 games, 30 days. Are you sick of baseball? Are you sick of each other?
I don't think we're sick of either. It's been great, man. You get to spend 30 days on the road with your best friends. It's been phenomenal.
What has been, we'll start with you, Tim. What has been your favorite part of this trip?
Ooh, good question. My favorite part of this trip, I would say definitely the fan interaction is up there. And also the fact that since we're doing this all in 30 days, we have almost unparalleled comparability. We have a memory of Seattle that is only 28 days ago, or 29 days ago now, that we can compare this park to Safeco, and we can do so in a very readily apparent way. And I really appreciate the fact that we get to see all the nuances of all these parks and everything. And also the road trip experience has been a lot of fun for me too.
Yeah. Brian, your favorite part?
I think what's been really interesting is the uniqueness of all the baseball parks. When you're watching on TV, you kind of have a feel that the parks are different, and everybody talks about how the dimensions are different in each park. But it's been really amazing to see what each city does to each of its ballparks, whether it's a dome that's retractable, or it's a Yawkey Way, or what the Cardinals have in Ballpark Village. It's so uniquely baseball, and it's been amazing to experience.
It seems like almost every year we hear a different story about how baseball is dying. From what you guys have seen traveling across the entire country, is baseball a dying sport?
Well, no, I would say no, I don't think so.
Honestly, when we started this trip, we expected to see half-empty baseball parks everywhere we went, because we've heard that baseball is a television sport. Nobody goes to the stadiums anymore. They're overpriced, those kinds of things. And really, for a few exceptions, we've seen 2/3, 3/4 full ballparks. And then what's really surprised us, a day game on a Tuesday, something like that, where you'd expect not a lot of attendance, sellouts in several different locations. And people are so... And the people themselves are so into their team. Without a doubt, the fan support that baseball has, I don't think we'll ever let the sport die.
I know you guys are keeping a blog, keeping everybody up to date. Any thought of maybe turning this into a book idea going forward?
Well, it's obviously it's something we had never thought of before we left, but a lot of people have told us that they really enjoy what we're doing and they would like to see us kind of record it and disseminate it. So yeah, it's something we've been talking about. We're not exactly sure what it's going to be.
And we've shot video at a lot of the locations we've been at, so it may end up being some sort of documentary type of thing. Again, we mostly did it just for ourselves. We had no idea that this was going to be anything, so we'll kind of wait and see, I guess.
Certainly want to thank Brian and Tim for taking their time to talk with us. They had a crazy final day. When we caught up with them in Detroit, that was supposed to be the 30th game. It was the 30th day, but because of weather the day before, they left Baltimore early that Sunday morning, drove to Detroit, caught the first couple innings in Detroit, and for the first time of that road trip, they left the game early to drive back to Baltimore, got to the Orioles game in time to see the final innings of that game, and then had to drive all the way back to Chicago because Tim had to be back at work that next Monday morning.
You only got 30 days off, and you